I'm really excited and honored to introduce our guest today. She is Louise, but she's really special because when I talked to her, when I met her, she really showed me the things which I always wanted to do it, and I just kept on saying I want to do it and I will do it someday, eventually, someday. And there are many people like me who might be wanting to do these things, but just kept on saying someday, someday, someday. Louise took action and she's going to share what her dream was as a small kid at the age of 12 and how she took action at the age of 53. And she's going to share her dream, her action, and hey, she is grandma of 35 kids, grandkids, and she has her own 8 kids. And in spite of that, at the age of 70, she is going strong. If you look at her energy, you will know what I'm saying. So, without me going and talking further about her, let her share her dream and what she is doing. And I'm just looking to inspire whole audience with her dream, with her action. So, Louise, yeah, just give us more introduction about you.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for allowing me to be on here today and to share. I was telling Pat, right?
Mm-hmm. Sue Patsy, yeah.
Sue. I was telling Sue before that my dream started when I know of I was 12 years old. So at that time, I was doing something called honor badges for our youth program in our church. And we had 80 honor badges to choose from. And we were supposed to choose 5 when we were 12 and 5 when we were 13 and write about these projects. And for some reason, I don't know why, but I chose to do all 80. And my parents were very supportive because it took a lot of extra work for my parents too. And each one of these honor badges in all different areas of life to help youth, each one I had to write an article about, and it had to be signed by the local leaders and the regional leaders. And so I did a lot of work in those 2 years. And I have all the things that I wrote about it still. But one thing that really stood out to me that I wrote, and I had been studying about Joan of Arc and Albert Schweitzer and other humanitarians. When I was 12 years old, I wrote that when I grew up, I wanted to do humanitarian work in Africa. And so that started the dream, and it was put on hold for a long time. So I got married young. I had had 1 year of university, and I got married and I started raising a family. And I didn't have any more formal education, but I've had education my whole entire life. And I'm still learning. I'm still doing new things. I'm still learning new things. This is a relatively new thing for me. But I got involved in some network marketing companies because I thought that was something I could do from home and still raise my children and be there with them. And we spent many years struggling ourselves financially because with that many children, and my husband is a school teacher, and all the lessons and all the sports and all the things, we struggled sometimes. But I remember that during the times that we struggled the worst, if we didn't know where to turn next, we took $100 bill and put it in an envelope and gave it away to someone that needed it more than us, anonymously. And we did that several times over the years. And
That is really great because, we have that impression, okay, if you have to be millionaire or billionaire to do the donations and charity, but you are showing us, means basically 8 kids and means basically network marketing. I know means on an average how much people make and even school teachers' income. In spite of that, you could give money and that too anonymously. Means that's really great. So you must be having really good upbringing.
I
Yeah.
really did. I had wonderful parents, and they really blessed me to have that giving spirit because they had that too. And when in 1975, so that's almost 50 years, my brother went on a mission and we helped pay for his mission. And since then, we have never missed a month helping missionaries. So for 47 years. So I really know that when we help others, that we get help as well. And it gives a certain satisfaction that's like nothing else. So in one of my network marketing companies, I earned a trip to the Dominican Republic in 2006. I didn't even know where the Dominican Republic was. I had to look it up on a map. And once we got there and we were staying in a beautiful place, we ended up buying a vacation package because it was awesome. You know, I wanted to go back to the beach and to the all-inclusive and the private pool and all those things and take my family and friends. So we bought a vacation package and we started going back. But it wasn't very long, having been there, I think almost our first time, we learned that the people who were serving us at the resort were actually living in very impoverished conditions. You would never know because you look at them with their, beautiful uniforms, clean uniforms, and they look fine, but they're not fine. And so we started taking things to the people at the resort. And then we started getting off the resort and we ended up in some poor communities and some schools, and we started taking things for schools and orphanages. The interesting thing is that I thought, and so many people think, that the orphanages are where the poor people live. But the orphanages that people are taken care of sometimes better than those on the streets. And so in 2011, we had a tour guide that had taken us to different places, and he just said, if you'll meet me here tomorrow, I'll take you to a place you can walk to from the resort. So 5 minutes from all this decadence was squalor. And we followed him, and all we had, because we'd already been to the schools and given away the things we had brought, but we had a little suitcase full of used clothes that somebody, a guest at the resort, asked us if we could give away. And I had never given away used clothes. So we walked up to this community and we walked to a lady's house. We got on the porch, opened the suitcase, and crowds of people started coming. And they were pushing and yelling and grabbing to get a piece of used clothing. And it broke my heart. So that's the first day that I really felt like, wow. So I let all my friends know who are coming because our airline here lets us each bring one bag free of humanitarian things. So we brought those things. I told them to bring all that they could. And so they came with lots of things. But one of the suitcases got lost, and it was all the little girls' things and all beautiful stuff. And I was so disappointed, so devastated. But it turned out to be a blessing in the end because the airline gave us $1,700 to replace.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I came home and started shopping. Now, my husband might not think that was a blessing, but home and started shopping, and the shopping still continues. I started purchasing things that I could take and try to make a difference with things. But it really turned around for us in 2012. We walked to this community, and my son was with me, and he speaks Spanish. And we were going to deliver shoes for people. But this lady came to my son and said, could you get my mom a leg? And I thought, how would we ever get someone a leg? I just was blown away by that request. But when I got home, I was really at the point I was thinking, why am I doing this? Because I'm spending so much time and so much money. And I honestly prayed to know if this is what I was supposed to be doing. And I was worried that I had some ego in it. I didn't know. I didn't know why I kept doing it. But I really got an answer and I felt like I needed to move forward. So that very night, I was looking on my new iPad and I found a video of this lady, this girl. She was 15 years old in Santo Domingo. And just excuse me, still get emotional.
Well, that's okay. Yeah.
She was in Santo Domingo and she had lost both of her legs in an accident.
Oh,
And she went to a company called Orthopedic Innovations, and they partnered with our church, and I couldn't believe it, to give 50 people each year new limbs because there's many in the Dominican Republic. So I was so excited. It was midnight and I was crying and telling my husband. And the next morning I was on the phone trying to find the contact information for the humanitarian missionaries there. And I did connect with them. Excuse me, I did connect with them. And they told me, just get the lady's contact information and we'll take it from there. Well, I had no clue what her name was or anything, but I had a picture of her and I sent it to my friend who worked at the beach. And he went to that community, showed people the picture, found her, got her information. We paid for her to go to the capital to have her appointment. And 3 months later, we were able to watch on Skype when she got her new leg.
that's really amazing story. At the age of 53, you started doing all these things. Don't you think it is too late? Because many times means people they are exhausted in their 50s. They don't want to do anything, and means what do you have to say about that?
Well, I think it's never too late, really. And so when I was 53 was when I was first going. By the time that we started our charity, I was closer to 60 years old because for the first 5 years we didn't have anyone to show us, the communities, and so once we finally found this and started going, the first thing I wanted to do when I went back in the fall was see this lady and her new leg. So I took my friend from the beach who speaks Spanish and English, and he walked with us, and we walked on up to the school that we had been bringing things to. And since we had an interpreter, my husband said, "Why is there a 2-room school and only one room is being used?" And the teacher showed us the huge crack in the wall and that the floor had fallen in. And the building really needed condemned. And this was a government school. And I had just started a nonprofit in the province of Alberta. And we had had a little fundraiser. And I said, I think we can help with the school. I think we can rebuild the school. I was a little naive, but I brought some people there to look at it. And they said, yes, we can rebuild it. So I came home and raised more money, what I had already. And 2 months later, it was the grand opening of the new school. So that was amazing. And there was lots of people there, a big crowd. There was people from the government and people from the media and all these people that had come to see this school.
See, this is really not usual work. So, means, have you experienced any miracles? Because this is, I really feel if you are doing something really good, God comes in and He basically does lot of miracles. So, I just want to know, have you come across with some miracles when you were doing your work?
Yes, absolutely. It started right then because a lady brought me a letter, an older lady, and I later found out she paid someone to write it because she's illiterate. And she asked me if we could help her with her house. And I thought, how would we help with a house? I didn't know. And I came home and my children and grandchildren planned a surprise birthday party for my 60th birthday. And we raised $1,200 with a little auction at our house. And then I had some garage sales, did some more things, and we raised the money to build her a house. And that was the start of our home building program. That was April 2013. And she was so excited. We were so excited. So we thought, okay, we're going to build one house every year. Well, somebody had a much bigger plan for me than I had for myself. And now, this week, this very week, we are working on house number 200.
Oh, wow.
And we are raising money for Giving Tuesday, which is next Tuesday, for a little Haitian refugee family. And this family has been on our waiting list for 8 years, but they didn't have land. But recently, the members of the congregation saved the money for themselves and bought them a piece of land. And so now we're working on that. So that in itself is a huge miracle that we're working on house number 200. And we
No, that
thought,
is really great because I heard even the big known charities actually they raised money to build houses in Caribbean after all the disasters and all, and yeah, they promised to be building like hundreds of houses, and they built only two, and it's a big known charity. I don't want to take the name, but yeah,
oh,
you can Google and you can find out. I don't want to say anything about that. And here you are, means basically going for 200 numbers. That is really amazing. I just want to know how much positive thinking really helps in this area because whatever work you are doing, it is not that easy. And many times doubt creeps in or some negative thinking. So, you just tell me what is your frame of mind when you are going and doing all this work?
I am almost always very positive. There's a day or two when I feel down and discouraged. And whenever I do, I know that the next day there's going to be a miracle. That happened this week. That happened this week. It happens to me often. But I'll just tell you one experience. I really wanted to make a community center for the people in the community where we focus on a lot because they had nothing there. And so I made a plan, and this was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I made a plan that we were going to build this center. And I knew it was going to cost at least $100,000 to build the center. And I covered my walls with positive affirmations. And some of them are still up down by where I usually have my computer. Some of them are still there, these affirmations that I posted. And we started the construction with only $10,000 in the bank. My husband tells me if he'd have known that, he would have been scared to death. But we found some people to match our funds. We had a big auction. We continued to raise it. And we started in October. And on my 65th birthday, on March 20th, we opened the center in that short period of time. And it's a beautiful place. We have a storage room and distribution room for food or clothing and school supplies and household items. We have community events there. We have weddings, we have classes, and it's a beautiful place. And then this last year, we had decided to build a second level. But in January this year, a lady called me and I barely knew who she was. And she asked me if she could come and visit with me. And she owns a furniture store in Calgary. And she came to visit with me. And after visiting, she went home and made this decision with her family and they donated $25,000
Ooh,
and sent their daughters that were 19 and 20 to make the second level into accommodations, beautiful accommodations that we can rent out to people that are coming to do humanitarian work. And so that was someone I barely knew. And things like that have happened so many times. And it's such a blessing. One thing that happened that I did not expect is that in 2022, I got home 5 days before COVID shut everything down. And then I thought, how do I ask people for money in the middle of COVID? But this was also my birthday, and I had heard that everyone was out of work there because everyone works for tourism, and people were starving. And I thought, I don't care. I don't care if people don't want me to ask. I'm going to do my job as a professional beggar. That's what my brother-in-law calls me. So I started raising money for food. And in 2020, we raised $250,000 just for food. So in Canada, we are Dominican Starfish Foundation. We have a partner in the US called PAL Humanitarian. And so we work together on all of our projects.
that's really great. So what is your typical day looks like?
My typical day, okay, I wake up at 5 typically, and I get on the phone because it's 8 o'clock in the Dominican Republic. And so I get on the phone and talk to our director there and see what's happening for the day and what I need to do. And then I phone our building director there and talk to him to find out what's happening. And then I usually get on my computer, and I'm often making fundraising sites and fundraising. So today, what's happening? Well, tomorrow, actually, we're doing an online auction to raise money for this Giving Tuesday. So it starts tomorrow. I know today is Thanksgiving in the US. Tomorrow is Black Friday. Tuesday is Giving Tuesday. So we're starting tomorrow and doing this little auction. Well, we have 110 items in the auction, which is small compared to what we've done before. But honestly, I didn't want to die. Last year, we had 600 items, and I had to deliver all those. And oh, honestly, it was really, really hard. So
From where did you get these items for auction? For example, if I want to give some donate my items for auction, how can I do that?
well, we just do this in southern Alberta, but some of the items can be bid on. It's an online one, but they can be bid on all over, because one of them that just came in yesterday from the same people that decorated our center is a trip to Hawaii. And
Oh, wow.
and it's got $1,000 in travel credits and the accommodations in Hawaii. So that's going to be bid on in the auction starting tomorrow. And so a few things can be bid on anywhere, but the things that we get locally, we just go to local businesses and ask for their help. And some are very generous. Some are very generous. And so then we put those items and those gift cards in the auction, and people just bid on them. And that's one of the ways this is the 6th year in a row that we've done that. That's one of the ways that we've earned money. And plus,
Yeah. How does giving change your life?
oh my goodness, I think it changes every life of people that give. But it's given me a real purpose. People say to me, "You're killing yourself. You're working too hard. You're killing yourself." And I say, "I'm making myself live." It gives you a real purpose. And I've seen it with the people who come. And I've seen some wonderful things. Could I tell you the story about a school that
Oh, sure.
So we've had this school for several years, and all the children in there are Haitian refugee children, and it's very hard for their parents to send them to school in the Dominican Republic because they don't have the proper papers they need. And anyway, so we've helped them for several years. I think since 2014, we've been helping them. But the director of that school is only 30, and she's from Quebec. And when she went there on a vacation when she was 17, she saw the need, just like me, she saw the need and went back at age 19, brought things for the kids. And that's what people have the idea to do first, bring things, bring gifts. And so she said that the gifts that children left the most was school supplies, because then they thought they were going to get to go to school. And that broke her heart. And she went home, came back and started this school at age 20. And she has 8 children off the streets, that Haitian children that are living with her, some that she's raised from the time they were children or small children. So in 2019, we got the idea to invite her to our area to have a big banquet to start sponsoring some of the children so that they can have education. And we raised, I don't know, $10,000 or something at this banquet. But while she was there, I got up to the front and I said, without talking to my board, I don't know, I just said, in 2020, we're going to start raising money so that you can have a school. Because they were meeting in this small house and it was so crowded, like 50 kids in a room, a small room. So I made that announcement. So when I went back in 2020, every group that came to stay with us at the resort, and we do that, we have people come and stay with us and we show them. So 10 groups I took out to the school to show them the school and said, this is what we need, where we want to raise money to build a new school for this family, or for this Haitian refugee school. So the second to last week, we had a couple come, and they were from Utah, and he had a construction business there. And he and his wife were there for 2 days only. They came to see one of the houses that they donated, and they came to see the school. So I took them to see, and they were very interested in hoping to help someday. And off they went home. And then we got another group, the last group, and it was one of their friends, the one who had actually sent them there, and some people. So I go to the school for the very last time, and our director, who is a very spiritual person and very in tune, we get almost to the school and she says, let me out right here. Because she knew I had a goal to at least buy the land before I went home. Even though we didn't have $80,000 to buy land, I at least wanted to find some. And so she said, let me out right here. And she started looking around and talking to people. Do you know anyone who has land for sale? Do you know anyone? And she saw some students that she had taught in, she teaches math in the evenings to adult students. And she saw these girls and they said, the place right next door is for sale. And it was a house, but it was like 3 times what they were meeting in the school. And so we went over there to see it. They asked $76,000 for it, less than the price of a piece of land. So all of us were like, how are we going to do it? Like, we need the money now. And some people were saying, okay, we'll get money from my line of credit. We'll do this. And I thought, I'm going to go back to the resort. I'm going to make a fundraising site and send it to all the people who I've showed it to in the last 8 weeks. But I got to the resort and I was so tired because I'd only slept 4 hours. I thought, okay, I'm going to go to bed and then I'm going to do it. And I thought, no, you have to talk to these people, Steve and Kay, who were there the week before, to see if they might know someone to help. So I sent them a message on Facebook, that's it, and said, this is what's happening, and I went to bed. 20 minutes later, the phone rings, and it's the guy who was with me, but he had gone to a baseball diamond to give baseball equipment to the children. And he said, Steve called me and said, what do you think of the house? Because they're both construction people. And he said, I told him it looked good. And then Steve said, we'll pay for the whole thing.
Ooh,
Can you imagine?
yeah, that is really miracle. In your conversation right now, you mentioned about spirituality. So, how much is the part of spirituality in this movement you are doing right now? What is the role?
I I feel like it's a very, very big part because we try to, we try to pray about our projects. Uh, we try to get inspiration for them. And it's just not to me like a normal charity because, we don't treat it like a business, we treat it with the heart. And so after this, after they said they would purchase the school, we knew we needed a new roof. So I went back to the resort, saw some people that had gone with me on Valentine's Day for a party, just new people that I met, and told them, and I said, we need $10,000, and they said, we'll give you 5. And then somebody else said, we'll give you 10. And so that's how it happened. And it truly a miracle. And so many of the houses, things like that, just seem to happen. And I know the Lord's hand is in our work. I know that.
So, you think a Lord really helps you in the challenging times? Means,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I agree with you that it's very, very good to have a positive attitude, because I always, if something hard happens, I always pray. I always try to learn from what happens that's hard, and I always expect miracles, and I always see them.
so it never have been a smooth ride, right? But it has been exciting ride. What do you think?
Oh, it's been exciting. It's been a lot of work, but there's so many others that have joined me now. At first I felt like I was doing 95%, but now the school I was telling you about, we have 2 sisters, one here in Alberta, one in Las Vegas. They've taken over the projects at the school. They've taken over raising the money for the sponsors, the children to be sponsored, and things like that. And I met someone, and this was another miracle to me, because I was on a cruise in Alaska in June, and my daughter met someone, and she was talking to them while they were waiting for the show. And now this man, who is also nearing 80, I think, is on our marketing committee, and he's taken over our email campaigns, and he's going to revamp our website. So more and more people are joining our cause and helping to make a difference. And it's
It is really great. That is amazing. How about your family? Does everyone in your family understand your dream, or they are making fun of it? How it is going on?
not everyone, but at least 5 of my 8 children are very involved. My one daughter is she's our bookkeeper, our accountant. Another daughter is taking a group from her network marketing company down in January. Another daughter raised money last year for part of a house, for diapers and formula for the children. So they're involved in helping.
Let me tell you, even the 3 which are not involved, they might be actually caring for you, because I remember, because in my case, my daughter really, she thinks, why I have to work so hard? I mean, why can't I relax? Why can't I enjoy my life at least this stage and all? So even if those 3 are not really involved, they are caring for you and they're praying for you. Okay, means, because that is the thing I saw in my family. Means, even if they don't understand many times what I do, but they do love me and they do care for me. So I
And
think it is the same thing. The five who are involved, they are helping, but even those three who are not directly involved, they must be thinking, why mom is working so hard at this age? So
and
yeah,
they
I'm
have
just
to.
telling you another perspective. Yeah, so
You know, sometimes you expect people to help that don't help, and sometimes it surprises you those who do.
help
So,
comes from what all other places you really never know. So means you mentioned about your work and all, but if me or someone from our audience wants to help you, what's the next step they should take? I just want to know the process, because this is a really good work. I really, because I have seen means billionaires going to Africa, and they are using Africa just as a testing ground for their vaccines and all. I really don't want to name anyone anything, but basically that is what I have been seeing. And but here you, from the modest background, and you are really doing authentic work. No, this is house number 200. And so really, if someone wants to become part of your cause, what action they should take?
I just want to tell you about our foundation name, and that will kind of explain some things to you because there's a lot of people that have the word starfish in their name for the very same reason. But we are Dominican Starfish Foundation. We named it after the story of the little boy who was running on the beach, throwing starfish back in the ocean.
Oh yeah.
The man came along and said, "Son, you can't possibly make a difference. There's millions." And he picked one up and said, threw it in, said, "Make a difference to that one." And that's what we're trying to do. We know we can't make a difference to all, but we can make a difference one at a time. So if people would like to help us, one of the best ways that we found people to get involved is to actually have them come and see, and we have a vacation package at our resort where we let people come and stay with us and we take them to the community. And right away, instead of waiting 5 years like it was for me, because I didn't know, they can be in someone's home and take some food packs. And um, so our email is dominicanstarfish@gmail.com. So you can contact me that way. You can contact me on Facebook. So we have a Facebook page that's Dominican Starfish Foundation. And people may want to come and bring their children and their families and their businesses and be a part. And it's an awesome way to have somebody actually take their hand and show them how to make a difference.
Yeah, because I remember even when I have been to Jamaica, only the tourist spots were really nice and classy. But when you are traveling, all you see is poverty. And now we are planning a trip to Bali. And I said, it is the same thing. Means all the tourist spots are really nice. But if you look around, yeah, means basically it is the same thing. But it is, you have to start somewhere, and you always start just with one person, one family, and then it grows exponentially. And later on, means it will grow so much that you will even wonder that, oh, okay, so I sowed the seed, and now this is all the reward, and it is what it is reaping. So it always starts with just one person, one family, but yeah, it will grow exponentially, because as you mentioned, miracles do happen, and God intervenes and helps in each and every area. So it was really a blessing to interview you, and because it is really a great cause. And many people like me, they always want to do something, but hesitant because they don't know how to start, where to start, what to do. Yeah, but means you have to just take action, and then it may not be perfect, but as far as your intention is good, everything will be done properly and everything will be corrected, because we are not perfect. Action is not going to be perfect, but
Right.
yeah, your intentions, as far as means what you want to achieve, that is great. Everything will be fallen in place. So, do you want to say anything in summary, or if I missed any point, you can surely go ahead and address that point because I was so much involved into your story and dream. So, I might have missed something, but if you want to add something, yeah, this is the time, please.
Okay. One thing I would like to say is that our foundation, Dominican Starfish Foundation, and PAL Humanitarian, who help us in the US, we don't take any fees. Everything that is donated, 100% goes to the project.
That is amazing because there are always overheads, and yeah, so 100% donation is going to the proper cause. That is amazing.
Another thing that we do that's different is that instead of going in and building these homes, we hire the local workers to do that work. And so last year we had 65 different workers that helped us in our home building projects.
That is good because yeah, even they are getting a chance, and yeah,
So a lot of people are afraid to donate to charities because they're afraid of the overhead costs, and we have small overhead costs and we pay for those ourselves. But any money that's donated to us from someone else, 100% goes to the projects. So if someone were to come to the Dominican and see a family that they'd like to help, they could go home and raise the $15,000 with their friends and have their very own starfish right there in the Dominican Republic that they could come and see and have a family that they sponsored to make a difference.
I saw that you had vision for many things. For example, you went to one school and said, yeah, by 2020 we'll have a good school. So what is your vision now for upcoming 5 years, 10 years? We just want to know what is your vision.
Well, we chose the starfish, 5 areas of the 5 arms of the starfish. So we help with food and clothing, education, employment, health and wellness, and shelter. So our biggest one is shelter. So we really want to keep building homes. Because if people have a roof over their heads, their lives change. Their lives change. And people can't look to education and bettering themselves if the basic needs of their lives aren't taken care of. So we want to continue with that. That's a big one. We want to help with education. We are helping with education. And particularly the school that we're working with, things are improving there every day, like every day. And we help with several other schools as well. We're helping children, youth go to university. So we have 9 students sponsored right now to go to university. And we're helping some youth go to high school that can't afford to go to high school. So that's what we do in the education program. In our healthcare, we mostly help people with emergency medical things. Like this past week, we got information of a little boy who got burned probably 50% of his body and needed help with medication and hospital fees. We raised money this week for that. But we also have doctors and dentists and chiropractors, optometrists come in and do service trips. So that's the other thing we do in the health area. As far as employment, we want to keep employing people and teaching them new skills. The people that are working for us have learned many new skills. So even if they weren't working for us, they could possibly get jobs somewhere else. And so we're trying to help people help themselves. And as far as food, we keep buying food. We keep giving food to people at Christmas time, year round. But that's the biggest thing we do when our guests come is that we go out and deliver food packs because that gives them a chance to get into the community and see. So that's our plan. We hope to get more and more people involved and more homes built. And
This must be so satisfying and so much means peace is generated into your heart because I know means people are really lonely, and I have seen means even wealthy people committing suicide because there is nothing to look forward to in their life. And if you get involved in such kind of task, really mean you have something to look forward to, and especially when you are doing something for others, it is really really amazing feeling. I think it is the solution for many problems. Means of course you are helping other people, but hey, you are helping yourself too, because you have something to look forward to. Otherwise, means people, many times I have seen people after retirement, they are so bored, they don't know what to do with their life. And so here means here you have something to look forward to. Means when you wake up in the morning, hey, what you can do, and when you are doing something good for community, hey, sevenfold it comes back to you, and it is really amazing feeling. I totally applaud whatever your work you are doing. And yeah, we would surely like to be part of it. And yeah, now we understand how we can contact you, and surely we will take further steps. We'll stay in touch, and people from audience also, they will be totally blessed to talk to you and work with you. And we wish you all the best. Thank you. Really appreciate.
Thank you so much, Sue.
Yeah. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. Today is the Thanksgiving in US. You are in Canada. I don't know the Canadian things. Yeah, I have visited Canada many times, but I don't know whether do you celebrate Thanksgiving?
In the second Monday in October, but we know about yours and we wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. And if people email me, just tell me that they heard me on the podcast and that they'd like to help, and we will make it happen.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.